So first of all, what is the impact on mental? So we know that there are different stages of the sleep. So there are actually 4 stages that are non-REM, and then we have REM, right? So the stage number 1 is when you're like drifting away. And this can actually happen to you even during the day. It's that small snooze. You are absolutely aware of where you are. You are maybe sitting in the car. You can even hear the music. You know that people are talking, but you are just drifting away. Then there is a stage 2, when you can actually really in the night feel that you are moving yourself. You don't hear the people anymore. Yeah. So stage 1 is just the preparatory. Stage 2 and 3 is when you are really drifting away and losing the consciousness, let's say. And that's a really good stage to repair the muscles and repair all the cells in your body. And then we have stage 4, when you are starting to consolidate the information. And then the stage 5, the REM, is the complete memory consolidation. And that's the time when we are dreaming. So you know that sometimes you can have really crazy dreams when the teacher is playing with your dog and there are people that absolutely cannot know each other and they do really strange things. It's when the brain is trying to put all the information that happened to you that day and that you were actually absorbing even unconsciously, and it's trying to put it into the right place. And people usually think that they dream only just before they wake up, but we go during the night through 4 to 5 stages of sleep because each cycle takes about 60 to 90 minutes. Yeah. So you go from stage 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to REM, and then back going to 1, and then again coming to REM. Yeah. So you can dream 4 to 5 times per night. So that's why it can even happen to you that 2 o'clock in the night, some noise wakes you up and you can still remember a dream. That's because you woke up in an REM stage. Yeah. So that's what is important for the mental. If we don't sleep well and we are maybe only drifting each time to the stage 1, we can never consolidate the information from short-term memory into the long-term memory. So that's why sleep is important. Emotion. So we have a part in our brain that is called amygdala, and that is really activated when we are under stress, in that fight and flight. And this part of the brain is kind of negative and is preparing us for the worst case scenarios. Unfortunately, if we don't sleep well, we get amygdala to absolute overdrive. So then, when you get up in the morning and people talk to you, you are irritated and your thoughts are usually negative and you overreact. Yeah. So when we sleep well and amygdala is completely relaxed, we make better decisions. So what is the impact, the physical impact? Yeah. So we know that we have lots of energy, we can exercise. And also during the exercise, we are breaking down the muscle and we need to repair it. And we repair it only in that stage 3 and 4. If we don't repair the muscles, we cannot even build the muscles, and even the cell replication can make mistakes, which then causes cancer and other chronic disease. Yeah. And also, when we sleep, we are producing more human growth hormone. So you know that the babies are asleep nearly all the time because they have lots and lots of human growth hormone, and they have to sleep more often because they are learning so many new things and they have to consolidate them. What is the impact on nutrition? So we know that every cell in our body has mitochondria. Mitochondria is like an energy powerhouse that is creating ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And this is like money, dollars, right? Because the cells in our body, they don't work for free. They want to be paid. Yeah? So when the cells create the ATP, and then, for example, you need the muscle to contract, yeah? So for this contraction to happen, there are 2 ATPs needed. If you don't have the energy, muscles cannot contract, brain cannot operate well. So what happens is that during the night, normally we shouldn't really need to create any ATP, any energy, because the body is clearing on its own. But since you are not sleeping, you are still in the day mode and not the saving night mode, so are using more of the ATP. Then you get up in the morning and the body is exhausted. Not only it couldn't repair all the cells and muscles in your body, it couldn't refresh the brain. Then it needs to do this extra shift during the day, right? When you are trying to catch up. And the levels of hunger hormone ghrelin are increasing. So the brain is sending the signal, oh, I'm tired. Eat something sweet or carbohydrates like bread and pasta or pizza. You're just overeating on all that unhealthy food because the body is trying to recover. Also, you don't have enough energy, so you're going to drink even more coffee, which will spike the adrenaline just to keep you going for maybe 2 or 3 hours so that you can crash down again. Yeah, so the life is kind of a misery if you don't sleep well. Spiritual as well. So this inner feeling and all the decisions, suddenly, if you don't sleep well and it goes over and over again every single night, you feel like everything is wrong in your life. You feel like that the dreams that you have, you cannot really turn them into reality. You cannot continue in your mission because you have all these negative thoughts like, who would want to watch my videos? I mean, I'm not good enough. Uh, I can't manage. I can't do it. Yeah. So this happens when you don't sleep well. So let's look at the hormones. Let's first explain what are hormones. So hormones are chemical messengers. As you can see, hypothalamus, which is a part of the brain, is sending signals to different glands in the body to release these hormones. And then these hormones, these chemical messengers, are traveling in the body and they connect to the cells that have the receptors for them, right? So it's like with the mobile phone, you must have my mobile phone number to deliver the message, right? So imagine you are the hormone, you send me a message and then I read it. I also need to read in your language, right? So there is like many, many steps. And if, for example, tell me, Blanca, uh, increase the temperature in the room, in the body. Yeah. So then I get the message and I go to do it. So the cells are replying and responding to what the hormone delivered. Right. So when we don't sleep well, there is an overload of hormones that are then delivering the message that we actually don't want. So there can be, for example, hormone ghrelin, right? I take it from the bottom. So hormone ghrelin is a hunger hormone, right? So the brain will say, look, you didn't sleep well. We don't have the energy. You need to eat more so that we get the quick sugar and we can make you moving. So all the cells in my body receive this message and then I go and I eat and eat and eat. That's what we don't want because we want to have actually more of the hormone leptin, which is a satiety hormone, and this hormone is released after a good night's sleep because then you don't feel hungry, you don't have the cravings. Yeah, so sleep has massive impact on the choices that we make, what we eat. Yeah? And then the willpower is not needed. Insulin is basically it's an anabolic hormone. It's a fat maker because the job of the insulin is to remove the glucose out of the bloodstream, the sugar out of the bloodstream, and move it inside the cells and produce the energy. So more you eat, more you spike the insulin. And for example, people that are in a pre-diabetic state or they are already diabetic, they don't have enough insulin and they might suffer with the roller coaster of not having enough glucose or having too much glucose. Yeah, hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia. Now let's look at how we could actually improve our sleep, and the most important hormone that is involved in this, and that is called melatonin, right? So melatonin is a sleeping hormone. And when we look at the molecular structure, what is melatonin made out of? It is actually very similar to serotonin. There is a difference only of one molecule. And why is it so? Because actually melatonin is made out of serotonin. And serotonin is a happy hormone. Yeah. So how can we make more serotonin? How can we be more happy? So 70% of serotonin is made in our gut. So the good bacteria in our intestine are producing 70% of the serotonin, right? This one is actually not crossing the blood-brain barrier, but it's helping us to feel good. It helps with the elimination of the stool. It just helps with the general well-being. Yeah? So what we eat during the day has impact of whether we have enough of the building blocks, precursors for the melatonin. So this is 70% from the intestine. Where are the other 30% coming from? That's from food. Yeah. So food that is high in tryptophan. Yeah. Tryptophan then turns into the 5-HTP. That is a long process in building. And then we can create the serotonin and melatonin. Yeah. So tryptophan. Which food is high in tryptophan? That's what we are actually going to cover later on. So stay in so that you know exactly what to eat during the day. Yeah. So let me tell you one more information about melatonin, which is very important. Melatonin is secreted from the pineal gland only when the darkness hits the retina in our eye. Yeah. So when there is a blue light, like from your mobile phone or even the daylight, but the blue light is the worst, we cannot produce melatonin. Then there is another trick. Imagine a seesaw, right? Two hormones are on the seesaw. One of them is melatonin and one of them is cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. Yeah. If we have high levels of cortisol, we cannot have sufficient amount of melatonin. That's when you are when we are stressed. For example, when you are traveling, you have to get up at 4 o'clock in the night. You don't want to miss the train or the flight, and you are worried about it. You are actually not going to sleep all night long. You will maybe only drift into that stage 1 to recover some energy, but you are not going to have the profound sleep that you need. Yeah. So how do we decrease cortisol? That's what we will cover as well. Yeah. So let's dive in to the next slide. So diving into the nutritional part, because I'm a nutritionist, science-based nutritionist, I love to talk about the food and the impact that it has on our well-being. So coffee and alcohol. Let's start with alcohol. Alcohol has probably only negative effects. And even if you think, but red wine is high in resveratrol, the antioxidant. Well, let me tell you that you would have to drink 30 liters of wine to get the therapeutic dose of resveratrol, and there will be many, many side effects if you were to drink 30 liters of wine. So let's just absolutely stop this argument. So what alcohol actually makes? It switches some parts in our brain and it makes us less receptive and we cannot react, right? So it's suppressing us completely. Yeah, what it makes temporarily, it gets you from beta brain waves, which is like now when we are operating, it gets you into alpha brain waves, which you usually achieve during the meditation, right? So that's why for a little while you feel calm and you can maybe fall asleep easily. But it's actually not falling asleep. You are just collapsing into the bed because you are drugged. What happens then during the night when the alcohol disappears from your bloodstream? or the liver try to process it, you might have bad dreams. And the sleep is actually definitely not deep. You are in that stage 1. You are not getting into the stage 2, 3, 4, and definitely not REM. So you don't go through the cycles, therefore you don't refresh the body. And if you drink alcohol every single day, you might have poor memory, focus, concentration. So I really cannot recommend alcohol. With coffee, it depends. It depends on the genetic predisposition that you have. You know, there are some people that can have coffee even at 8 o'clock in the evening and they sleep without any problem because they have this enzyme in their body that can break down the caffeine, which is like increasing the adrenaline, and within 30 days it's away from their bloodstream. But us other normal human beings, it might take 6 to 8 hours to remove the caffeine from our bloodstream. Yeah, so that's why in general it is not recommended to drink coffee after 2 o'clock in the afternoon so that you can actually have a profound sleep. And you know, morning coffee, if it's organic coffee from Guatemala or from Ethiopia, the Red Mountain, if you make it not in the aluminium bialetti, or if you are not using the aluminium capsules in your machine, then it's fine, right? Use the stainless steel, use the organic coffee, have it in the morning with your healthy breakfast that is not high in carbohydrates, and you will be absolutely fine. So 1 coffee per day, or maybe 2 if you have the second one after lunch, can be still okay, but alcohol definitely not. What can also have impact on your sleep is medication, because some of the medication is containing caffeine and steroids, and steroids are basically cortisol. It's precursors to cortisol. Yeah, so corticosteroids. You might be using it because you have some skin rash. You might be using it on whatever. Yeah? And if you apply it in the evening and then this cortisol gets into your bloodstream, it's blocking the melatonin and you might have a sleep problem. So of course, in this case, you always talk to your medical professional and maybe ask them whether you could use this medication in the afternoon, not as close to the sleeping time. Yeah, that's all. That can be like drugs that you are using for the high blood pressure. It can be painkillers. So it's really good to check the packaging and talk to the professional, or just go to the pharmacy and ask them. But don't stop any medication without consulting it with your doctor. Which food should you avoid and why? So for example, asparagus. And why? Because it's diuretic. Yeah? So that can make you to go to the toilet in the night and it's going to wake you up, right? So it brings the cortisol up, and that's what you don't want. Celery is the same. Garlic. Apricots is high in potassium. So also the food that is high in potassium, because that has impact on your kidneys and on the aldosterone, which is a hormone responsible for balancing the water, so water retention and water elimination. So you might be again going to the toilet more often than you want. So as you are going to sleep, think wisely what you are going to eat. Dark chocolate. So in general, I love dark chocolate and I eat dark chocolate every single day. Yes, it's high in magnesium, but unfortunately, it is also high in histamine. So if you are sensitive already to eating some food, if you have like food sensitivities, food allergies, if you are taking antidepressants, if you have some problems with your neurotransmitters, chocolate in the evening might not be the good choice. It's also actually high in caffeine. So if you have a sleeping problem after drinking coffee, then eating chocolate after 2 o'clock in the afternoon is also not a good choice. Well, ice cream sugar, the reason for this is because it's high in sugar, and sugar is again not only spiking the insulin and increasing your blood sugar levels, which everything that goes up can also go down, will actually have to go down. So then when you fall asleep and you might have hypoglycemia, your body is protecting you even during the night. So how can the body increase the blood glucose levels in the night? only by increasing cortisol. And as we said, if we have high cortisol, the melatonin goes down. So you are actually going to get up. Cortisol is a stress hormone. It's always there to prepare us for fight and flight, right? When you are running away from the tiger, you are never going to sleep. So even this stressful situation, when you have low levels of glucose, will wake you up. So for example, people who are pre-diabetic, they need to go to the toilet very often in the night. They feel thirsty and they get up. They get up because of the cortisol and because the sugar roller coaster. Then cheese, eating cheese. Maybe you have heard it. People saying, cheese can give you bad dreams. So I was diving deeper into the science. Why is it so? Why should we not eat cheese in the evening? Because it is actually high in amino acid tyrosine, which then increases histamine, which again can have impact on the cortisol levels and on the sleep. Yeah. So you need to test it. You need to test it. Like eat cheese in the evening. Don't combine it with red wine. I know it's a good combination, but no. And then observe it. Did you sleep well? Did you get up in the morning refreshed? If not, try to go for 3 days without eating cheese, without drinking wine, without the other food. And if your sleep improves, there you go, right? Ginger, cucumber as well. It's like diuretic, so you don't want to consume it in the evening. Otherwise, it's of course healthy food. Yeah. So cucumber salad for lunch, fantastic choice. And then pizza, obviously pizza because it's just like sugar, and tomatoes because tomatoes also can cause the histamine allergy or reaction. Yeah. So now we know what you shouldn't eat, but what actually would be good to eat. So what about, for example, almonds? I love almonds. Almonds are high in protein, and they actually also have tryptophan. And we said that tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin. So during the day, you will feel very happy and satisfied. And then in the night, if you are not stressed, it can turn into melatonin. Yeah. So my favorite recipe is actually when you take rosemary. Rosemary is also very good for the brain and memory, consolidation and sleep. You take fresh rosemary, you mix it with almonds, little bit of salt, and you put the almonds into the oven. You roast it for 10 minutes. That is a lovely snack. Yeah. Then, of course, for example, turkey and eggs are also high in tryptophan and in B12. So it's going to help you to fall asleep. And if you are a vegan, just stick to, let me see, what can you stick to? Stick to almonds, right? Because it's more difficult for you. Kiwi, surprisingly, is fruit that I absolutely love and recommend because kiwi is very high in digestive enzymes. It's very low in sugar. It has quite good amount of vitamin C, which is helping you to produce the hormones and neurotransmitters. And it's a lovely snack too, right? Cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is very high in protein and therefore even tryptophan, right? The amino acid, because amino acids are basically like pearls on the chain, and the full chain is called protein. Yeah, and protein is needed everywhere in our body. Not to have wrinkles, that's protein. Collagen is a protein. In our hair, it's a protein. In our nails, it's a protein. Protein is everywhere. Yeah. Banana, milk, and honey. So this is actually given sometimes to children to help them to fall asleep, right? You make it like a cocktail or you warm up the milk with honey. So it's not something that I would recommend from the nutrition point of view, and definitely not for people that are 30 plus, but maybe for children, time to time, if they are stressed from something or worried, it might be an option. Otherwise, it increases the blood glucose levels and maybe people that have lactose intolerance, so it wouldn't be for them. Oatmeal in general, yes, especially if you, for example, ferment the oats. So if you soak them into, for example, kefir overnight, you leave it on a kitchen top table, or you can leave it even for 2 days, and more it ferments, more it releases the enzymes and beta glucans and even actually the healthy sugar, basically carbohydrate, that are increasing the levels of serotonin, and it might help you to fall asleep, right? So you can have it as afternoon snack in case you are not suffering with blood glucose levels, you don't want to lose the weight and other things, right? Fatty fish. Fatty fish definitely, because it's high in omega-3. And omega-3 is basically needed in every cell, because cells have a phospholipid bilayer. So it's basically built out of fat. And omega-3 are very flexible. So it's actually increasing the fluidity of the cells. So then the cells and the receptors on the cells can get the messages from the hormones, from the right hormones, and they can act in the way that we want, right? And for example, fatty fish, like my favorite recipe is sardines mixed with cottage cheese. That is brilliant, right? And of course, it tastes very nicely on a piece of bread. But if you are on a ketogenic diet, or you are trying to lose the weight, or you have a gluten sensitivity, or you are avoiding the gluten, maybe you can just eat it with carrot sticks or horseradish, something that is crunchy, so that you balance it out. What can you drink if you cannot drink coffee and you cannot drink alcohol in the evening? I would recommend mineral water that is high in magnesium and calcium, because these two minerals are helping to increase the neurotransmitters in our brain and calm down the nervous system, and it helps us to sleep. So I personally, and it's not that you should do it too, I take large dose of magnesium 1 to 2 hours before I go to sleep. So not only it helps me to avoid any constipation that I wouldn't want, it helps me to sleep deeply and be relaxed. Also, what I do is I, for example, drink passion flower tea. And the taste is not brilliant, but you can get used to it, and it definitely helps to fall asleep. Or chamomile tea, you can try, yeah? So, what can you do really throughout the day? Because whatever you do throughout the day has impact on how you are going to sleep. Yeah? So there is a cumulative effect. So the mental and emotional, physical, nutritional, and spiritual. So mental, we said, it is all about the mindset. And what I really like, Ingrid Dach, my favorite inspiration, she says, turn everything into advantage. And that's what I try to practice. So I give you an example. A client cancels a nutritional therapy consultation with me, right? And I could say, well, now I'm losing the money, or, I could have had there somebody else. But I say, so I turn it into the advantage. Wow, this is fantastic, because now I have more time to prepare this power of sleep presentation, right? Or, wow, that is fantastic, because the weather is so beautiful and I can go for a walk with my dogs, yeah? Or I discovered that I don't have any milk in my fridge, and therefore I'm not going to drink coffee. So temporarily, I would feel like, I cannot have the coffee that I want to have. But I can say, well, this is fantastic, because I'm not going to have coffee. I will have a green tea and I will sleep even better in the night. So everything that is negative, try to turn it into positive, right? Try for one day, catch yourself every time when you are saying like something doesn't go your way, and turn it into advantage. So that's the mental mindset. And as with everything, decide if you want to be thermostat or thermometer. And what's the difference between it, right? So thermostat is in the room and you set up the temperature. You decide how you want to feel all day. So I decide in the morning if I want to be happy, if I want to be relaxed, how I want to go through the day. Yeah, what is the mental state? And then it shows even in my body, and people feel it. They feel my energy, and I'm like a magnet. They want to be around me because I am positive, right? It's because I have decided to do so. I am a thermostat. What is the thermometer doing? Thermometer is outside and it is reacting to the external environment. When it's cold, it goes down. When it's hot, it goes up. Yeah? While the thermometer in the house stays exactly where it is set up to be, no matter what's happening around it. So the thermometer, the one that is outside, is going to react to the colleagues. So when colleagues are angry, or your job, your boss gives you more work to do, or you disagree with something, right? You get angry, you're frustrated, your emotions are really brought up, and you are maybe even making internal dialogue with the person, or you're reflecting about something that happened 1 week ago, right? So somebody asks you, why are you angry? And you say, well, she told me this, or she broke up with me. And you ask, when was it? And you say, well, it was last year, or 7 years ago. So for 7 years, you are occupying your head with something that somebody hurt you. No, you hurt yourself. It's not the person. It's what you decide to accept. If you don't accept it, if you don't accept the present, who is left with it? The other person. So this is all about the mindset. So decide, do you want to be a creator of your feelings and your life, or do you want to be a victim that reacts? Is the food having the power over you? Is it the person having the power over you? Yeah. So this is the cumulative effect from the years, from the months, and you need to switch off so that you don't have the cortisol high and you can sleep deeply. You find the inner peace. Yeah. So it's obviously a little bit of practice. So it's the mental, and then you have even the emotions under control because there is nothing triggering it. Physical. So it's all about the exercise. Yeah. We know all the benefits of exercise. We know it's good for the cardiovascular prevention. It's good for our mood. It's increasing the serotonin and endorphins and all the happy, positive hormones, right? It's speeding up the metabolism. It actually suppresses the hunger for a while. But when to exercise? So it's definitely not before you go to sleep. Because if you go, for example, for intense run, you are increasing cortisol because it is stress. Yeah. So it would be good to exercise maybe in the morning. If you have a good night's sleep, it's not a problem to go for a run in the morning. If you, however, don't have time, I understand, you might be busy. What about doing a little bit of Pilates or yoga, yin yoga, which is calming yoga in the evening, but try to stick to at least 7 to 10 minutes per day, or go for a nice evening walk, relaxing walk, observing what's happening around you, how the trees are flowering, breathing, all this mindfulness exercise. Nutritional part we covered. So now you know what you should eat. And of course, it's more complex. And this was a general advice. If you would want personalized advice, when I look at your blood test results on what you eat, and we can prepare it for your lifestyle so that it's only adjustments but not drastic changes, and you can get in touch with me. And then the spiritual part, obviously, it's meditation. Yeah. So I just want you to remember every single day, turn everything into advantage and ask yourself, do I want to be thermostat, the creator of my well-being, or do I want to be the thermometer, the person that reacts to the external environment? So now, to catch the wave, this 90-minute cycle, as I told you, you have to be nicely ready for it. And what can you do and what you shouldn't really do, right? So the timing is everything. The best sleep that we get is from 10 o'clock, like going to bed between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, right? It's the optimal one. I mean, if you go earlier, even better. But I understand with children and the busy lifestyle, it might not be possible for you, right? So we call this power down hour. And we say 20, 20, 20, like we separate it. So we will talk about the step number 1, which is to get things done. You prepare everything. The step 2 is the personal hygiene ritual. And I just want to make the difference between what is ritual and what is routine. Yeah. So routine is something that you do on autopilot. That is actually 95% of the actions that we do is on autopilot. You go to brush the teeth, you are brushing the teeth, you don't have to think about it. Sometimes you even drive the car, you are suddenly at home, even without knowing how you got there. Yeah, you don't observe anything anymore. It's automatic. The brain is doing it for you. However, ritual is when you pay attention. You are fully aware of what you do and even why you do it. Yeah? So the step number 3 is preparing the relaxing for the bed. So let's dive in. You knew that I was going to say it, that spending too much time with the blue light, with your mobile phone, with your laptop or watching TV is not really ideal. Because as you can see the spectrum, the blue light is actually one of the worst because it is blocking the receptors in our eye, and therefore the melatonin, the sleep hormone, cannot be produced. However, there is so many smart things that you can do now in case you don't want to say right now goodbye to your mobile phone in the evening. Of course, that would be something that I recommend. Yeah, I personally, so I use all the filters that I'll be talking about, but I don't take the mobile phone into my bedroom, right? And before, of course, I had an excuse, but I'm using the wake up alarm on my mobile phone, but not anymore. I bought a traditional, very old wake up alarm that I actually don't even need because I wake up every single day at the same time. Yeah. So if you are using the excuse that you need your mobile phone for the alarm, then forget this, right? And if you are not prepared to leave the mobile phone away from your bedroom or not to touch it in the evening, then I would recommend to use there are many, many apps for the blue light filter. So Flux or Twilight, or you can buy on Amazon these glasses that are blocking the blue light. So you can actually see on this picture below what the screen looks like. So your normal screen turns into yellow, and I'm testing different. So I have like on my mobile phone, I have a different app, and in every laptop I have different app, but all of them seem to me fine. So before you go to sleep, in these first 20 minutes, you want to make sure that you prepare the bedroom. So obviously, as we said, when we want to create the melatonin, we need to create the darkness. So if you have the shutters or the lights in your bedroom, it's good to use it, like to create the complete darkness. Yeah. What you can also do is prepare the temperature in your room. Ideal is 18 or 19 or 20, so it's like up to you. I like it a little bit warmer, but cooler it is, better sleep you are going to have, right? It's because of the thermogenesis in our body. So it's preparing the bedroom. I also like to use the lavender spray, right? That's why you see the lavender plant in here. So that's like preparing everything down, and maybe even preparation in a way, in a mental. Write down everything that you don't want to forget. You can even prepare the lunch and snacks for your children. You can like tidy up the house so that you feel that everything that you wanted to do is done and you don't have to think about it while you are falling asleep. Second thing, create a ritual. So I have chosen this beautiful picture because I really like the bath, the self-standing bath. It looks so inviting, but let's be practical. If you have children and dogs and a full-time job like me, the idea that I would create the ritual of having a bath with candles to relax down is not really realistic. So if you are busy like me, what you can do, what I do, is I take a shower. And in the shower, I'm using visualization. I visualize that I'm washing all the stress away from me. The water is taking it away from me. Everything that my clients shared with me, everything that I heard, everything that doesn't serve me anymore, because I cannot fix the problems of the world in that moment. And I always promise to myself that when I get out of the shower, I'm going to think only about me, my future, my plans. So everything that is either now or in the future, what I want to achieve, what I dream, what is my mission, what is my passion. There are no other people involved, yeah, and definitely not past. So then I go to the bed, and I love personal development, and I read or I meditate. So what the meditation can be like. If you are not yet experienced with it, you can follow me on the Spotify, or you can download or listen to it on YouTube. So for example, my spiritual guru is David G. And he has really nice 8-10 minute meditations. Flow of Love is one of my favorite, with beautiful music, beautiful words, and it just relaxes me totally. I don't use it in the evening, right? Because I don't bring my mobile phone into the bedroom, but I do it during the day when I teach yoga. So we would like listen to it. But that can be your starting point, or you can listen to Louise Hay. She's like absolutely great with positive affirmations. Or Sarah Erkel, she has really nice affirmations as well, and Deepak Chopra, so he's like very famous. So that would be some of those that I follow. And if you are more advanced with meditation, you can basically do it like yourself. You are leading yourself. It can be body scanning, when you are observing the body and you tune into your heartbeat and you feel your fingers and every hair and the air around you. Or maybe you can even try transcendental meditation, when you are like looking at yourself from different points and you're traveling in the space into the future, and you are manifesting what you want. Yeah, so it's a little bit advanced. So that was the part 2, and now we are coming to the part 3. Yeah, so this is when you are really waiting for you to catch the wave, so that the stage 1 is coming, the one when you are drifting away. Yeah, so what I do is like, I'm reading physical books because it always makes me tired. And these books, it's of course not like detective story, but it's all about personal development, like where I want to be, how I can achieve my dreams, how can I improve my business so that I can serve more people, how I want to look, and what I'm going to do for it. I visualize myself. It's again like visualization. But what you can also do, you can, there is this amazing app, Blinkist, and they actually have many discounts. I have the codes on my website, or you can even drop me a note. 40% discount they have currently, and 7 days for free. You can try it, and they have blinks, right? So that's why it's called Blinkist, because they have books on personal development, but also economy and science and everything. So it's non-fiction, and they read them for you, and they summarize the most important parts, the takeaway, into 12 to 15-minute blinks. And you can listen to it without the Wi-Fi, in German and in English, or you can read them. That is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, so that's what I personally use this app. Whenever I'm traveling or waiting for clients, I'm reading, or when I cycle to my office, I will listen to it because it motivates me. It just helps me to improve the mood and be who I want to be. You can do tapping. I don't know if you have ever heard about emotional freedom technique, starting with the karate point, then going into your eyebrow on a side. Yeah, so it's basically tapping into the energetic centers. So you can move this energy and release all the stress that is holding you back from drifting into the deep sleep. Yeah? So it's called tapping, and you can again find it on YouTube, or you can find practitioners in your area. Journaling and gratitude. If you get into the habit and you remind yourself, what are you grateful for? Because the life is so beautiful. Mostly people are complaining of what they don't have. But if you are basically sending to the universe of what you don't have, the universe is going to multiply it. So if you are grateful for what you have, you are going to get even more. And you can be grateful for small things. You can be grateful for the lovely mattress that is so soft and relaxing. You can be grateful for living in a beautiful house. You can be grateful for having children or dogs that give you unconditional love, or for your friends, or for the job that you have. Grateful for having enough money to buy all the food that satisfies you and gives you the fuel, and you can look the way you want. It's just so many things you can be grateful for. And you can practice a slow breathing exercise. So for falling asleep, right, and it's scientifically proven, is when you want to do a controlled long exhales. And we can try now together, right? So inhale is on a count of 4. Then for 7, you are holding the breath in your lung. And then you slowly exhale it on 8, right? So you can close your eyes and you can try it now. So inhale on a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale on 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you manage? So you can try to do this 5 times. Start with 5, or maybe 10, or maybe 15. But the 15, you are not even going to remember, because by the time you will be in a stage 1 or 2, you will be sleeping deeply. Try this out. Yeah. And meditation, alpha brainwaves. So you can actually play the audio in case you have your blue light filter already set up on a very old mobile phone that you actually don't use anymore, right? So you have there only this application. That one you can take into your bedroom and you can play the songs and set it up that it will automatically finish after 10 or 15 minutes, that you don't have to do anything around it anymore. And you will have a nice, profound sleep. So here is actually a list of books that I love to read in the evening. So just in case you are a reader, or just in case you would want to try the Blinkist, dive deep into it. Let's look. Okay, so this is the, let's say, the last emergency, because life is not stable. It's going in sinusoids. And the chances are that some unpleasant situation happened to us and we cannot really control them. So you lose a loved person, you go through a really difficult divorce or breakdown, your child is sick, or you lose a job. Of course, that is having a big impact. So in that case, occasionally, to fall asleep, you could use some of these phytonutrients and hormones, basically. So L-theanine is basically, it's from the green tea or from the black tea, but of course it's in a much larger dose and it's without the thein, right? So it gives you this feel good, relaxing feeling. It's also going to increase the GABA neurotransmitters, which are inhibitory, which are increasing the alpha brainwaves, the meditative state. This can be actually used even, for example, if you have a presentation and you're maybe a little bit stressed about it, this can help you to calm down. Then we were already talking about the 5-HTP, which is basically active form of tryptophan. So for example, if you are a vegan and you are really not consuming too much tryptophan and you have a sleeping problems, and again, you are very stressed, you can buy this 5-HTP in a pharmacy. In general, I don't recommend buying something on your own without consulting a professional. So either science-based nutritionist like me, or talking to a homeopathic doctor, or talking to a functional medicine doctor. Yeah. But you can buy it in a pharmacy, and it's actually from seeds that are grown in Canada and like Northern America. GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, and you can also, in a French pharmacy, you can buy it without prescription, even though they always ask you why you want it. I tested all of them, obviously. GABA very quickly increases the alpha brain waves, but it can give you like very vivid, wild dreams, very confused dreams, and you even remember them. Ashwagandha is an Indian Ayurvedic herb. I personally tested it. It did not help me in any way, but the research shows it's beneficial for people who suffer with anxiety and depression. Melatonin is a sleep hormone, right? As you know, and you can buy it in a pharmacy as well. So melatonin is, for example, given to people who travel a lot and they have a jet lag. So in that case, I would even recommend for 3 or 4 days using it. However, what you need to know is if you supply this hormone to your body, you are going to disrupt the natural feedback loop in your body. Because if something goes down, the information goes to the brain, and brain will make the melatonin. If you are supplying melatonin all the time, your brain, the pineal gland, will lose the ability to sense any lack and the ability of creating it on its own. So for a long term use, I wouldn't recommend melatonin at all. For a short term, like 1 milligram time to time, when you really need to fall asleep, it's probably okay. Yeah. And magnesium. So I personally take every evening, as I mentioned, 375 milligrams of magnesium. But this is, of course, not recommended to people who suffer, for example, with diarrhea, right? So, or who take medication, because there is always impact on a medicament. So you always need to talk to your doctor about your medication or any other supplement that you want to combine with it, so that it doesn't interfere and doesn't give you any negative side effects. Okay, so if you ever have any question, you can send me an email, or you can follow me on LinkedIn or on Facebook, or you can visit my website. And what I would want you to do is act, right? Because only if you take action, you can change things. So what would be the one thing that you can really change? Is it the mental mindset? Not being the thermometer outside, but behaving like a thermostat. Can that be that you turn everything into advantage? That would be actually the best thing ever. Or can you try to avoid drinking alcohol in the evening, or maybe reduce the coffee? Or can you try to exercise a little bit every day? Or can you give meditation a try? Can you try this breathing technique? 4, 7, 8.